All right, how are you doing? This is Friday. Now it is February 17th. I'm Tom Novak. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Hey, we're going to be talking about a potential major winter storm that looks like it's going to strike the upper Midwest Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday, then probably even lingering into Thursday. And this could be a doozy, and you're going to hear a lot about this storm here over the next 24 to 48 hours this weekend. And then, of course, all the weather outlets will be ramping up the storm talk as we head into next week, but we're going to talk about it today. All right, let's take a look at what we've got here. Okay, you got the visible satellite loop now that you're looking at here over the upper Midwest, and some real interesting things to look at here. The visible satellite loop is awesome when the skies are clear because we can see the ground and you can see the river valleys, especially when you have snow on the ground. And by the way, look at this. This is the Minnesota River here in southern Minnesota. Here's the Twin Cities Metro. That's showing all the pavement in the Twin Cities Metro. And then look at this up here. This isn't lack of snow. That's the forested areas of central and northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. Now, what I find very interesting are two things here. Not only just the surface features, but look at this. Look at all the snow that fell here over the last 24 hours across southern and eastern Iowa and then into southern Wisconsin. Some areas receiving almost a foot of snow down there. And then look at all the snow up here in Minnesota, over much of Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. But in between, if you're in Albert Lea, Mason City, Iowa, La Crosse, Wisconsin, Decorah, Iowa, hardly any snow on the ground in that portion of the upper Midwest. So yeah, some people are pretty lucky as far as snow is concerned. Others are trying to figure out how they can even buy a flake. I think that's going to change a lot here as we head into next week. As we zoom out a little bit, you can see where our air mass is going to be coming from here over the next couple of days, right up here in Montana and North Dakota, as we have a pretty fast west to northwest flow in place now. We call this a zonal flow right now, and that means we're going to have plenty of sunshine, I think, this weekend, and temperatures, for the most part, above average this weekend before the big change occurs. Okay, what is the big change? These are the heights in the atmosphere now. Heights and thicknesses in the atmosphere at about 20 to 25,000 feet, and I want you to take a look at what's going on here this weekend. Right now we have this, what I had mentioned to you, is a fast zonal flow in the atmosphere. It's separating lower thicknesses up here over Canada from the rising heights or thickening atmosphere here over the southern and eastern United States. This is a bubble of warm air that's developing, or a dome of warm air that's developing over much of the eastern half of the United States. Now watch what happens as we get into next week, and this is critical. Look at this area of lowering heights. It's a massive area of lowering heights over the western United States, basically from the plains on west. You can kind of consider this like a storm manufacturing plant out here, as storms rotate around over the western half of the United States and then they get kicked east and northeast towards the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. This is a stormy weather pattern. This is for Wednesday here of next week. Just a beautiful setup for the potential for a winter storm, as a major league low pressure system is likely going to develop somewhere in the central portion of the United States and then race east and northeast towards the Great Lakes region. Again, probably a classic storm track for a major winter storm over the upper Midwest. And that manufacturing plant out west kind of sits in place even into next weekend. So we'll have to watch out to see if any more storms develop even into next weekend. But yes, this is a stormy weather pattern. And then we finally get back into a little bit more of a zonal flow here as we get into the week after. So that would be the last week of February. But no doubt next week looks real stormy, at least as far as the weather pattern is concerned. Here's the winds at 30 to 35,000 feet. We call this the jet stream, of course. And there's that zonal flow over our area, not only this weekend, but into early next week. So again, temperatures near or above average, I think, through probably at least early next week. And then look at how the jet stream buckles. And this is an impressive looking upper air structure. Look at the powerhouse jet stream here over the southern portions of the United States and desert Southwest. We're talking winds, jet streak winds at about 160 knots. That'll be surging northeast towards Iowa as we get into Wednesday and then Thursday morning of next week. And we also have another jet streak here just north of Minnesota and north of the Great Lakes. And usually it's in between two jet streaks is where you get a significant amount of lift, which means inclement weather. And if we can get cold air, Arctic air in place for later next week, I think that's going to spell the potential for a major winter storm. Now, as we zoom into the upper Midwest and northern plains, this is for Wednesday night of next week. I know it's a long ways away, but all guidances right now, medium range guidances, are kind of showing the same thing. So we have a consensus in the model guidance on how this is going to evolve. But these are the winds now at 5,000 feet, at 850 millibars now as we head into Wednesday and then early Thursday of next week. And look at how strong these winds are. We call this a low-level jet that will be pinwheeling winds back northwest across southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin as we get into the middle portions of next week. This is moisture that will be riding up and over a cold dome of air that's going to be situated over much of the Dakotas and northern Minnesota. This is another ingredient that is necessary for significant snow and ice for that matter. And it looks like it'll be over much of the central and southern sections of Minnesota, portions of northern Iowa, and a large chunk of Wisconsin. Again, these are some strong low-level winds, a low-level jet that will be transporting moisture back north and west into Minnesota. And when we look at the temperatures in the lower layers of our atmosphere on Wednesday and Thursday of next week, look at how cold they are, especially up in the Dakotas and northern Minnesota. Plenty cold enough for all snow up there. And look at the temperatures here, even in southern Minnesota. We're well below freezing at about 5,000 feet in our atmosphere. But, and this is important, that rain snow line or that changeover line in our atmosphere looks like it's going to be dangerously close to southern Minnesota as we get into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So we'll have, I think for the most part, this is going to be a snow event, but we definitely need to be thinking about the potential for some ice or maybe even some rain. It may turn over to rain as we get into later next week. All right, that's your forecast. Hey, everybody have a great weekend. It looks like it's going to be a nice weekend, and we'll plan for that storm next week. Take care.